closer to Wyoming to see wild horses.
Well, you guys don't mind taking the trip, though, right?
We'll see. Hey, hey, I gotta drop off. I'm bothering my grandpa.
All right, sounds good. Hey, what's up, Captain?
Hey, Proverbs, what's going on? What happened to
No,
the other show today?
so I was going to be doing the show with Brian Newman, but our guest had to cancel the second week in a row. Um, but next week we were able to confirm our interview with a Christian rock star, so that's going to be a really fun episode.
Cool.
So I canceled my show for tomorrow night, and I decided to take this place.
Nice.
I'll just be quiet.
Are you sure, dude? Like, we don't want to bother your grandpa.
No, it's okay. I'll just be quiet. He's hearing me. He's not hearing you.
All right, brother. Oh man, yeah. So Stump, I was playing the episode from the other day, the 6-hour one right before Adam Lore converted.
Oh yeah. Okay. That was a good one.
Yeah, we actually just watched the part where everybody's kind of beating up on Bruce, and you're like, hey, I know this dude's heart. He's gone into cities that few of you would go into to preach the gospel. I thought that was really cool of you.
Yeah, yeah. He's a good guy. Like I said, he just a little bit over the top. He thinks it's if I remember, I think I said that you need to let adults make their own mind up. I'm never for censoring things. I don't care what it is. If you're an adult, you should hear whatever you want to hear. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not for censoring people. And well, you can't hear about the Catholic priest or the Catholic Church because let you listen to it. And you're an adult. Do what you want. That's how I feel.
Since Dustin can't talk this episode, you need to send Bruce an invite.
He'd be so anxious to say something. He'd probably blow up. I wouldn't do that to him.
Dustin, can you play nice if we send an invite to Bruce? He can't answer.
Oh, that's right. He can't answer. Well, he could always go away if he wants. Like he could just leave if you don't like Bruce that much. I'll send him one. Hold on, let me get my phone.
Well, we have private chat. Maybe he's writing in private chat. That was great. Yeah. So Dustin, in private chat, let us know if you can behave if we send an invite to Bruce. You'll deal with it? That is awesome. Stump, go ahead and send it.
All right. Here goes.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going, my brother?
Hey, doing good. I made it safely home. Thankfully.
You know what? You look different.
All right.
I look different?
You look like a man who just saw a full-scale Noah's Ark.
I know. And I went inside and everything. Hey, J.R. Zills?
Because of that conversation we had yesterday, Ryan, I reached out to Ron Wyatt's widowed wife today, and I told her I was ready to do our next interview, and she told me that her and her husband are about to head to Mount Sinai, and they will be back in October, and as soon as they get back, she's going to give me another exclusive interview and fill me in on all the new updates with Mount Sinai.
That is amazing. That is wonderful. I can't wait for that. Proverbs guy. I'm just amazed because there are people who question Ron Wyatt's credibility, and maybe if we could get a little bit more evidence and a little bit, maybe we can put some of that to rest. If we get some more verification.
I mean, for me, I don't think there's any question about the Mount Sinai location, at the very least. Even if you said all his other claims were false, which I disagree with, I think all of them are accurate. But Mount Sinai is indisputable. It is directly across the Red Sea, and on both sides, there are bones and chariot fragments all the way across. And it leads to the mountain with the burnt top. I've held the rocks burnt on one side and untouched on the other. Like they found the split rock, they found the carvings, they found hieroglyphics that depict a giant bull, which is the god Horus from Egypt. I mean, it's without a question the real Mount Sinai.
Yeah, that's all. I can't wait till she gets back.
Well, who was bringing up the other location? Wasn't that Jeremiah yesterday? Something about another location of a boat.
Lupa, isn't it? Lupin was
Lupin?
bringing it up. Yeah.
Was it him? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
the same thing
that was a
almost,
second location for Noah's Ark.
Yeah, I thought it sounded like almost the same thing. He said it was in a rock slide, and it sounded like he was speaking of the same thing, but he thought it was another one. I've never heard of this other one. Has anybody else ever heard the other one?
No,
I haven't, no.
That's why I think he was mixing up the two. I mean, unless there's something that we've never heard about. I sure
I
never
just
heard
think
about.
I think the most likely location is 45 minutes north of Lexington, Kentucky. Just kidding.
Right.
I mean, what are the odds that in the mountains of Ararat there would be a second 500-foot long wooden ship that was preserved for thousands of years?
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah, what are the odds?
You would hear about that, right?
I could have swore it was Jeremiah when I was listening to it, was bringing it up right before it came on, but maybe I was wrong. It might have been Lupin. I never heard that from Lupin before. That surprised me.
Well, an interesting little story that Mary Nell shared with me. They have a piece of the deck timber, right? It's the piece I got to hold of Noah's Ark when I went to visit her.
Right.
And she told me that her and Ron Wyatt had this piece of deck timber on their coffee table for years as a display piece. And they had cats. And she said, unexplainable, their cats were completely obsessed with this piece of the timberwood.
Wow.
Like fixated on it constantly.
Because their ancestors walked on the thing.
Yeah, maybe. But cats, man, they're. Let me tell you, when I was a cop, we would use cats like dogs to find things for us. If there's something out of place, they're gonna find it. They're gonna go right to it. So that could be part of it, and it might have been amplified by this piece. That it really stuck out to them because cats are pretty smart. Well, they know what's out of place.
It's interesting, and you can pull the scripture up if you want, Stump, but it doesn't say that Noah went to get all the animals. It says that God brought the animals to the ark.
Amen.
And I don't know if there was something about the ark that drew the animals, but I'm wondering if it's that same thing that drew Ron Wyatt's cats to the piece.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's something to think about.
Yep.
Yeah, something drew them to the ark.
Exactly.
If it wasn't God leading himself, because you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when back to the garden, right? I say always goes back to the garden. When God brought the animals to Noah, you see, he brought them to Noah to see what he would name them. Adam didn't go around looking for them. God brought the animals to Noah, just like in the ark. Exactly like in the ark.
Everybody, welcome my cousin here. Hey, how you doing? One awesome woman.
You got that right. What's up, cousin?
That is a very Hebrew name, cousin.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's my store name. So when I start making my homemade soaps and my shampoos and I do my bath bombs and my herbal remedies, it will all be Yassam under the name Yassam.
And I'll have to buy some from you.
Do you have to be Torah observant to buy your products, or can I share your link with my Christian friends too?
You can share it with all your friends, no matter what their denomination or lack thereof. But I won't promise not to witness to them at every given opportunity.
Okay. Well, if you're going to witness to any of them, do it to Josh. You remember Josh?
Which Josh?
Josh J.
Yeah. Yep.
He converted to Mormonism.
He used to preach Pentecostal services at like 12 years old with you in the church.
You're not telling me anything new. I know. That's what was shocking about it. Like, his mom about broke her heart.
Wow, he is way too uppity for Mormons, I think.
I know.
Too lively. That's a better word. Too lively.
I'm working on him, and I'm trying to invite him to come onto the show. so he can explain Mormonism to us. And once he's here, we're going to get him back over to Protestantism.
Listen, I'm so desperate for a service right now, and I refuse to go to a Sunday service to the point where I'm about to join a Seventh-day Evangelist church just to hear the word on Saturday, okay?
Oh, cuz it's not worth it. Look, I struggle with that too because I keep the Sabbath, but I just go to a regular Baptist or Pentecostal Sunday church. We alternate.
Yeah, and I didn't mind for a long time, but I just can't anymore. Personal convictions being what they are and all, I can't anymore.
Well, the thing is there's hardly any word being preached in those churches anymore. So it's hard for them to take stuff out of context when you don't ever read the Bible. Like, I'm not kidding. We went to both a Baptist and a Pentecostal church over the last month, and neither pastor read more than 6 to 8 scripture verses in a 45-minute service.
Wow, that sounds about like the average right now.
Like, you're not
It's
getting
like the
fed at all.
school. Well, it's just like school's the same way, and that's what I think of churches. Churches more like a congregation anymore is in indoctrination. They want you to hear their word, and that's sad because if they just allow the Holy Spirit to use them, how many more lives could they touch?
Hey, testing. How is this, Dustin? I'm waiting for him to write in the private chat. That's
I'm not
maxed
in a
out, partner. Yeah, you are in the private chat. If you look on your phone, you'll see the messages popping up in the private chat.
Yeah, your mic is quiet for some reason, and your cousin's is way loud. I was just trying to point it out.
Does anybody else think my microphone is low?
Oh,
Ryan, Captain?
I hear you loud and clear.
Ryan. There you go, Captain.
Yeah, you're clear. Your cousin is a little bit loud, but it's not unreasonable. Yours is a little. Yours is clear though.
Okay, but is mine loud enough?
Oh yeah, for me, I hear you clearly. Well, I have headphones on, so maybe that's why.
Okay.
Am I too loud? I projectile. I'm a project my.
If you go into settings, you see
Okay.
settings. Okay,
Got it.
click on audio
Got it.
and click on microphone, and you should see a mic volume where you can slide it up and down. You don't see it?
No, it just gives me an option for default speakerphone head earpiece, automatic echo cancellation, automatic adjust mic volume. Oh,
There
but
you go.
so if I turn that off, yeah, there we go.
There you go.
How's that? Am I better?
I think you sound fine. Everybody, you think she sounds okay?
It was like at a 90. I turned it down to like a 70. Do I need to go lower?
No, I think you're good. P-Town, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, guys. How do I sound? I'm having tech issues.
You said you're having technical issues?
Yeah, how do I sound? Everything okay?
Yeah, I think you sound fine. How are those atheist Bible studies coming?
I don't think they call it a Bible. I've heard it
No.
called scripture, but not a Bible.
See, there's this famous YouTube atheist. He's like our Joel Osteen, you know? Except he's respected in their community. So he's a famous YouTube atheist. He has a blasphemous Bible study that he does. And P-Town is the only Christian that he allows on his blasphemous Bible study. And P-Town uses it as an opportunity to defend the scriptures when he's allowed and basically answer questions when the Holy Spirit prompts them. So it's a blessing.
Okay, keep doing y'all's work.
Captain, I could have gone on and on for hours with that conversation we were having last night.
Well, kind of that my my phone started to die because we were getting hungry and it was getting close to time for Cracker Barrel close, and so we were able to have just one last little meal together, Cracker Barrel, before I head home. So it kind of worked out for me.
Well, you missed a really in-depth debate about the Nephilim and the fallen angels coming and sleeping with the daughters of men. It was a very heated exchange, but I think
That
we
was
won
my
Stump
last-
over in the end.
I think you got to
Ooh,
say
a
alleged,
conversation I would've
alleged,
loved.
alleged.
Well, it must have been a different because I watched last night's broadcast that featured Jeremiah, and it ended about the time that we left. Did you do another
Okay,
one?
so that's actually not a coincidence, Ryan. I had to do 2 episodes last night. And the reason being, when you and Jeremiah got off, instead of hitting leave studio, you hit end broadcast. So you shut the whole episode down.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right, brother. Hey, man, we all got to learn.
I'm still new.
Yeah, you are. You're doing great. No, it wasn't a big deal. We hopped back on, but we had a very good, heated conversation and exchange, especially Stump and I.
I'll have to listen to it then. So I saw
Oh,
it
just
on
don't
there,
say-
but I said, when did this get posted? It confused me.
Just don't say when the fallen angel slept with women. Say when they allegedly slept with women. That's the correct way to say it.
It doesn't make sense, guys. Why would they be the sons of God but the daughters of men?
Hmm.
The carnal
Aren't
mind,
we
the spiritual
equal
mind.
co-heirs in Christ? So if we're sons of God, wouldn't they be daughters of God also?
The spiritual mind, the carnal mind. That's what it's saying.
I don't know, man.
Men are carnal. God is spiritual.
I just don't think that's staying true to the text, Stump.
Throughout the Bible, right? Israel is commanded by God to not touch the heathen women because what? You'll start to influence by their gods, and we see it with Solomon and everybody else.
That's
You'll
true.
be influenced by their gods. You'll fall into their traps. So you're not supposed to do the thing with the heathen women, the marriage and all that. So the same thing. They just use different wording. Sons of God, spiritual minded men, carnal minded women. That's all. That creates problems.
I I just don't agree with that. I mean, it describes sons of God. In the Hebrew, it would be hard to abstract that it means man. It almost certainly means something angelic.
Well, we have a saying up here in Chicago: hard head, soft behind.
Does that apply to children?
It applies to those that believe that the Nephilim are the result of fallen angels sleeping with women.
Well, okay, you still haven't answered the one dilemma that causes, though, Stump.
That is what?
The dilemma is you cannot explain where giants came from.
They're part of our DNA.
Okay, so you're saying they came from Eve? So Eve produced a giant all of a sudden for no reason? And multiple
No.
giants? Because those giants had to breed to reproduce.
With the same
Well-
mother and father?
What I'm
So,
saying.
hey, I have a question. Have you considered the possibility that the greater amounts of land mass equated for the larger growth of mankind?
You're not allowed to talk, Dustin. Your grandfather made it clear.
Yeah, that was a good point, Justin.
It was.
Well, like someone said in the comments, all the animals were bigger too. We find a fossil record of bigger dragonflies, bigger beavers, all kinds of stuff. So that wouldn't be unusual for there to be giant men. Why would that be unusual?
Animals usually adapt to their environment based on the amount of land that they have, and their size is usually adept by that. So it makes sense that there was a huge change, and then all of a sudden our sizes started getting smaller based by the cutting off of land mass.
If I may, I'll bring science into the equation for a moment. Scientifically,
Boo! I'm kidding. Go
you're going to
ahead.
like this, guys. You're going to like this, though. Scientists that have discovered the giant remains have tested the bones for DNA and has found an extra chromosome in them. So how do we explain away an extra chromosome that doesn't exist in the human race?
Degradation over time. Changing the land environment, it's going to change the DNA.
I haven't found. I will have to check into that further because I have not been able to, as at this point, find any scientific data that confirms that.
Have you ever heard of John B. Calhoun?
Yes.
Look up his study on the mouse. Okay, you're going to see that as the environment changes, the DNA of the mice changes, which makes for a different breed of mouse over time.
Okay, well then I'll go even a step further and still sticking with the science agenda here. We have writings that have been uncovered as Antarctica starts to defrost. We're finding things that have never been discovered before, and in some of that, we're finding text and writings that actually talk about Nephilim and talk about the fallen ones being amongst them.
Off topic, but that kind of puts the whole global climate crisis into question, doesn't it?
Fake news.
Amen.
Yeah, honestly, as pursuing this degree in environmental science, I have come to learn that this is nothing more than a repeat in our history. It literally happens on a regular cycle.
It's completely cyclical.
I couldn't hear that.
It's completely cyclical.
Well, here's the thing, though. They claim that the Earth is overpopulated. However, every scientist in the world claims that every country is going to be in serious trouble within the next 50 years with depopulation. They say that we're out of land, but we can fit everyone on Earth comfortably in just the southeast of the United States. And they also say we have a food crisis, right? Okay, BS. Bill Gates is buying up every small and medium-sized farm that will sell to him so that he cannot grow food. They're manufacturing a population crisis. They're manufacturing a food crisis. It's all manufactured.
I'll say amen. I agree. They're loading up our cities with what they call asylum seekers. I call them illegal immigrants from all over the place, not just from South America. I showed you how they're loading them up from Africa as well. I don't know how they came through the Mexican border, but they're in New York City.
Everything's a crisis. Everything's a war. The agenda.
Confusion.
The agenda from the adversary. Everything's anti the Bible and hidden in that way.
It's an agenda push. They want us to coincide whenever they push the one world government, one world religion. And so they have to make us think we're in a position where we can't do it for ourselves anymore. We need us all to join together to form this one world nation, or we're going to starve to death, and we're going to have to start killing babies. And we're going to have to, it's absolutely crazy because everything that I'm learning contradicts what they're pushing on this media fake news platform. I literally daily find myself contradicting this news media platform with the scientific information they're shoving down my throat and forcing me to learn. And it's like, okay, but you're teaching me to basically ignore the news. Like, your goal is to tell me that they don't matter what they're saying, then obviously we should all be thinking like that. If they want our educated scholars to think like that, then we should all be thinking like that. Don't trust media.
I mean, God wanted us to populate the earth, right? So it doesn't surprise us that the adversary wants to tell us otherwise.
Well, and then not only that, but think about this. If we're so overpopulated, then why are they investing trillions of dollars into a fertility lab where they can create life, and they have these fake embryos and stuff? I mean, these fake I lost my train of thought. They have all these machines, incubators. That's what I was looking. They have these incubators, and I pulled it up. Real story. They have it launching this year publicly, but it's been operating for about 2.5 years now, and they're creating babies. If we have such a population in crisis, why do you have over 6,000 infants in a lab cloning more right this moment?
We probably need them for human sacrifice, I bet. But as Christians, that's the thing. We have insight on what's going to happen, and we should pay attention. We shouldn't be caught off guard, because there's many Christians I run into that think you're crazy who say that we're living in the last times. They don't see the same thing I see, so caught off guard by this.
Well, there's
nonsense.
I'm in that camp.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I forgot about that. Dustin's one of them.
I feel
But
like
you're newer, so I forgive you, Dustin.
I feel like something happened after World War II, where governments around the world realized that they don't have to have an actual war in order to control the populace. They could just make up wars. War on drugs, war on, I don't know, like fill in the blank.
American people.
Yeah, it seemed like that happened. I don't know, maybe with the big test with the War of the Worlds over the radio, made everybody go in mass panic. I kind of feel like that was not as innocent as it seemed. I think it was a test ground if you read the information.
Amen. I agree. They wanted to see how vulnerable people are to fall for their lives. Just like this last thing with the VOOP and the 19 and all that. That was part of the test to see would you actually fall in like cattle and sheep and do what they tell you to do.
Well, if you look into TLS, they are an underground organization that is battling against these other forces. Now, I don't believe in their platform. I don't think they're completely blameless in a lot of things, but I do see where they're trying to help. And one of the first things they'll tell you is this shit y'all are calling conspiracy theory is true. This is really happening. Quit letting them lie to you.
Excuse me, Cuzza.
Uh,
If you could please try to watch the dirty words.
oh, did I say one?
You
My
said
bad.
the S one.
Oh, my bad.
No problem. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's like I lost my train of thought now. But you keep hearing it from, and I watched a whole documentary on it recently, actually just the other day, with one individual that's willing to come out with his story, and just the events that they talk about is literally like hitting the target of every conspiracy theory, as it's coined, that we've been throwing around here for since the 19, that everybody's come together and like, hey, yeah, something's going on here. And he's like, yeah. And then it turned out he actually told the one doing the interview, and he confirmed it with him, like, I believe it was a year before the 19 came out. He said, you're fixing to have a world of fake pandemic, the P word, come out, and it's going to actually lock New York down and lock down everywhere in the world. And the guy goes, you can't do that. They couldn't get away with it. And 1 year later, it happened exactly like he said. So I'm more inclined to believe that he's a little more knowledgeable than not in what he's speaking about. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of information there that's really worth the look.
Yeah, people fell in pretty easily. I didn't see much pushback of the here and there, but wherever you go out, people were lined up like sheep. They had on their muzzles like they were some kind of ox that pulled the cart but couldn't partake in the food. So it fell real easy. And even afterwards, after you try to warn them about the VOOP and stuff, and then their own family members have side effects of VOOP, they still won't admit that they were wrong about everything. They'll still stick to the same thing, even though it's affecting their very family, their very children. It's amazing to me that people are this bad.
What amazes me more than that is the man that invented it came out and said, quit mass doing this, because you literally have no verifiable long-term data to let you know. Hello, every one of those we've ever put out, there's long-term data to go with it. They're just like, no, here, take this. You have no choice. You're going to lose your job. Your kids are going to get kicked out of school. You're going to go to jail for your kids not going to school. Everybody jump on now. I looked them right in the face and said, let me tell you, as for me and my household, we're going to run to the Lord when we have problems, not run to Pharmakita. I'm not going to your fallen angel technology when I can run to a God that's bigger than all that. And you know what? I did get it once, and within 5 days it was gone. Hallelujah. My children were saved from it and everything. So looking at that, and then looking at my best friend that got the jab 3 times and has had the C word 9 times, I'm like, you know what? I think I came out on top.
Hey, man, that amazes me too. How people who call themselves Christian didn't trust God over man, because although the jab or whatever you want to call it, called the hoop, is not the mark of the beast or anything like that. I don't believe that, but I was not going to be letting my family get affected by that, my children.
Absolutely, and I
health
agree with
reasons.
you. I agree with you that I don't think it was the mark. I believe it was a precursor. It was to see how ready we all were to fall in line.
Yeah, I think the mark of the beast is supposed to be like a voluntary thing. So when they started to force it, I don't think it could be related to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Now,
amen. A lot of people
I
So
thought.
agree.
I ended up getting it right before I went on a trip when it was the heat of Delta, and I was going with a bunch of A-type personality, top salesmen within the company to LA. And I was just doing the math on this, and I'm a skeptic when it comes to it, but I'm just doing the math, and I'm like, people are gonna die. You know, I know you guys don't want to believe it, but I was like doing the math. I'm like, I know these salespeople, and I know they're not in very good health, and I'm doing the math. I'm like, someone's gonna die from COVID from this event, and 2 people did die from COVID.
Oh
And
no
I
one's
got the
saying
jab before that.
You don't know that
it was a
COVID.
And
real. It's a
I
real
had a
thing.
I'm in LA, and I had to call an ambulance. And I told them, I was like, I think this is a reaction to getting the shot. They're like, oh no, it couldn't be that. But I swear, yeah, I called the ambulance, and they came up to my room, and I still to this day, I'm really confident it's either I got COVID while I was there and had a really weird reaction, or it was from the vaccine. I don't know.
Have you
That's
heard of the
amazing.
clots that are associated with the vaccine? The 5-year-olds and the 13-year-olds that whenever they get phlebotomized, they have to go into the veins and pull out this gummy clot.
I can't hear you. You're in the bathroom or something. Who's that?
It's
There
hard
was
to
a
hear,
lot
but
of
I'm in a rest.
I really hope you're not talking to us while taking care of business, Dustin.
It's all right, Dustin. Dustin, where are you at? Are you in Everett right now, or are you on one of the islands?
Pete Town's cutting out now. Am I cutting out as well?
Am I cutting out right now?
No,
You
you're
were.
coming in. You're coming in clear, Stump.
Yeah,
P-Town-
Is Pete Town
Dust-
cutting out?
Dustin is currently in Utah, the state, with the horses.
How's my mic doing?
Your mic is doing great, P-Town.
Okay.
Now, who was it that said that the mark is supposed to be a choice, not by force?
P-Town said
That was me. That was
P-Town, I wanted to comment on that because I've come to understand it a little bit differently. So I just kind of wanted to see how maybe you felt about this. But I've come to understand the reason, you know, that God goes forth and he mocks those that are his on the forehead, correct?
I think so.
Okay, well, I believe the forehead is because it's a freedom of choice, it's knowledge and information, whereas the mark of the beast will be on the forehead and or on the hand. And if you look at references speaking to these kind of things referring to the hand, it's usually meaning by force. I believe it's going to be a choice at first, but I do believe it's going to be tried to forced upon us in the next round. I believe that's why it tells us the head or the hand, where God only marks the head, is because the head's a choice. Whereas the hand is how you're forced.
I would just have to defer to some people. I don't usually do this, but I'll just have to defer to people that I trust deeply and admire a great deal who have said that they think it's going to be people who are willfully, worshiping this person. And honestly, so I'll definitely take your view into consideration. And I've had the same thoughts too when I read scripture without studying it, but I defer to a few people that are really that have been right that I admire a lot.
Are
Yeah.
none of us going to say that Elon
thanks,
Musk
P-Town.
is a possible Antichrist?
I don't think so. I think he's going to become a Christian. I think so. I think he's going to come out of. Well, I mean, I'm an optimist, so.
I would be more
say,
skeptical
let
of
me at
Elon
him.
Musk becoming a Christian than I was Constantine becoming a Christian.
Well, he talks about the multiverse. You can tell that he came from a very atheistic background, and now he's starting to really conceptualize, right, that there's got to be a creator. I mean, he takes it from an evolutionary perspective as well as a technical perspective. And he's like, the math is there. Like, we are probably, according to the worldview of our opponents, if you do the math, we are basically a video game. I don't know if anyone's following me here, but his logic checks out, quite frankly, and I'm just praying that he comes to realize it's just a little bit of a different video game than they realized, one that God made.
Sorry about that. I think that a good candidate is Yuval Noah Harari.
Amen. There's many, so it could be a whole lot. It's not just one.
Yeah, Rosie is the one who told me about him, and when I started looking at his uploads and his conversations, the things that he's said, he's pretty creepy guy.
Well,
a real creepy guy.
The scripture says the Antichrist are those who deny that Jesus is the Lord, right? That Jesus is Christ, and Noah definitely denies that he is Christ. In fact, he mocks the Bible often.
Yeah, he sure does.
But I'm just going to tell you my stance. When Scripture says He causes all, it means all, and we've already taken it. We just got to not hold on to that mark. It's going to be good once you let it go.
Hey, P-Town, would you be able to invite a couple of your atheist friends on here tonight?
Oh, I tried to. I went to the 24/7 atheist, the atheist experience, and I went in there and had a little Rochambeau and tried to invite them. But I got blocked. When I said, "Hey, come to Proverbs Guy, channel if you want to talk with your mouth," then it got blocked, and I don't know. Maybe I'm kicked now, but when it comes to my atheists, probably not tonight, because I'm really low on sleep. I stayed up pretty much all night working on a big proposal, and now I'm just chilling. But I would love to. I could definitely get some.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
Mark
I'm gonna
Reed
work
will
on
come on, or Atheist AJ if he suddenly gets brave, but I doubt he'll ever be brave enough.
I can get atheists to come. Yeah.
Yeah, do it, man. We're all about
AJ,
proving their theories wrong.
Mark Reed, him and I are friends.
I like Mark.
You do now, but you haven't had too many encounters with him. Did we lose you, Steven?
I'm
There you
here.
go.
I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, he just affirms to methodological naturalism to the fullest. And the only, honestly, the only issue I have with Margaret is I want him to be a Christian so bad that I'm afraid that he's completely shut himself off. He's kind of devoted his life to the other side. And in the beginning, he gives you the impression that he's open to considering other possibilities.
What you said something interesting, P-Town. You said we like him now. What did you mean by that?
At first, I thought there was a chance, and I still like I said, I still like the guy. But but I'm just afraid that he's shut himself completely off of considering the other perspective. One of the hardest things that I do, to be honest with you guys, is try to put myself in the atheist footprint, in their shoes when I consider other arguments. It's not a very safe spot to be in, but it's still, at least to some extent, something that I try to do to sympathize. I think that sometimes I get the impression that he's not even trying to do that on the Christian side anymore.
P-Town.
Yeah.
Does the average atheist have the mindset that if my five senses can't detect it, it does not exist? I mean, is that what they pretty much live by? my five senses have to be able to detect it in some way, or it doesn't exist.
No, I think it gets worse than that with Mark Reed, and hopefully he's watching because he'll come. He can chastise me if I'm wrong, but even if I point out that there is order in the universe, he'll say that means nothing to me because we find order in the universe anyway, and we don't have to explain it. Methodological naturalism still is a better explanation, even though there's no evidence for it. For example, two violins will, synchronize together. And I'm like, dude, that's just stupid. Like, we're
They're
talking
both
about
being played
stars
by
here, not violins, Like,
they're both being played by an intelligent being. I mean, you can't see that.
he'll even go, even if you can prove an intelligent being, it still would prove methodological naturalism.
Can you write Mark for us? I know it's only
I'm
8
friends with
a.m.
him on
there.
Discord. You want him on here. So,
Well,
but
he's been on here several times. I find him pleasant. And I know he's 12 hours ahead of us here in the East Coast, so it's 8 a.m. there. And this is
Yeah, I'll
typically
message
around the
him.
time he joins us, about 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.
Okay, I'll message him right now.
You are a real homie.
This is why I want to see if he lives anywhere near Gary Bates, and the two of them should meet for dinner or something. Be a very interesting conversation.
Next to Ray Comfort, Mark might be my second favorite Canadian.
He's not Canadian.
Ray Comfort? Ray Comfort
Or
is
not
from New
Canadian,
Zealand.
I'm sorry, Australian.
Yeah, Ray Comfort is actually from New Zealand, and it's interesting. They have the same accent as Australia.
Is he from New Zealand?
Yeah, I believe he is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Ray Comfort is from New Zealand. I can look it up real quick.
Man, maybe. The
but
English
what-
language is
like-
weird. It has so many different variants.
Proverbs guy, don't forget about Ken Ham and Gary Bates, both very good creationists, very staunch.
I gotta stand by what I said. I really like Mark, and I know that once we win him over to Christ, he is gonna be a weapon to fear. And I look forward to the day we're able to bring him to Jesus.
Dude, that's what I like. I'm going for Aaron.
You know what you're experiencing right now, P-Town? You are Britain during World War II, before the United States entered the war. You have been in the trenches. It's been messy. You are demoralized, and you have very little fight left in you. And I'm the U.S. I'm fresh in this. I got corn-fed boys ready to go, and we're going to kick some doors down with you, bud.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. I need all the help I can get. And trust me, if I get wounded, I'm ready to go pastor to Christians anytime God tells me I can.
Look, if I was from
I'm
the
done with
alphabet,
atheists.
if I was from the alphabet community, I would fear Ryan like nobody's business. And I'll tell you something else: atheists fear Stump because Stump doesn't pull punches.
I had to delete an alphabet person from my Facebook friend list yesterday because he made a comment on my the picture of me and Jeremiah where I'm wearing my rainbow shirt, and I didn't like the comment, so he's gone. Now, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should consider him a mission field, and I'm starting to have second thoughts. But I guess if the Lord wants me to unblock him and then try to reason with him and witness to him, I may do that. But it's someone who is just an acquaintance of mine. I probably haven't spoken to him in years, and when we did speak, it was just small talk. So I think this person made assumptions about me based on an opinion of me, not based on who I really am. So, that rainbow shirt triggered him, and he said, "Oh no, this take the rainbow back. It's anti-alphabet. Well, what do you think about that?
Ryan, when Satan wants to kick you while you're down, your past is how he's going to do it every single time. I have been in that battle for 3 years now, my friend.
Yeah.
It never ends, but it's worth it. And his grace is sufficient for us.
Now,
Yeah, that's why I don't hide the fact that I have sin in my past. I used to live a sinful life, and I don't hide that fact. So if they try to throw it in my face, I'm like, yeah, but these people already know about it. All these
Not
Christian
compared to
people
my
already know
cousin here. She is the biggest. I'm kidding.
But Ryan, are you
Ryan, we
saying
are
that
all sinners, Ryan. I mean, we've all
Ryan,
had
about it.
that.
are you saying that he was like basically calling you a letter follower, or are you saying that
Yeah,
okay, see,
this is
I
this
can
is what
feel
he's.
you on that because I swear, I promise, every time somebody says something to that, because I'm a little bit of a dominant female, and when somebody was to
Uh-huh.
even jokingly say something like that, I mean, my natural response is, and I'll
A
turn
little
around
bit.
serious. I'll turn around. Shut up, Steve. I'll turn around serious as possible, and I'll look them dead in the eyes and tell them, "How dare you call me an abomination to my creator?" First
Mm.
words out of my mouth every time.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I've
I
even
don't want to
taught
be
my
one
kids to
anymore
say
ever
that at
again.
school
Hmm.
because one of my
I
girls
don't
was getting
ever.
called that because she hugs on her little friends and stuff. And I tell her, I said, you turn right around and you look them in their face and you say it as serious as you can.
Yeah.
How dare you call me an abomination
Well,
to my creator?
kids in school can be very, very cruel to each other, because they're too immature to know how to behave. They're not yet old enough to know how. I mean, about, okay, this person has feelings, and I just hurt this person's feelings, and that just like I do. Kids tend to think the world revolves around them, and they've got feelings, but they can't seem to comprehend the fact that other people do too, and that they're capable of hurting other people's feelings just like they're capable of getting their own feelings hurt. So yeah, I know. I mean, I was bullied in school, and the kids that bullied me wouldn't do it now because they're adults and they understand that other people have feelings just like they do. And but a little kid doesn't understand that yet. They really don't.
And see, what's weird about that for me is I was a little bit of a bully in school and I didn't realize it, but I had a very detrimental home life bringing up and stuff. So, like, I was just taking out anger and didn't know where to put it. It was displaced
Yeah,
anger. But that being
yeah.
said, because I was such a bully and I never got picked on, like, nobody dared to speak it to me wrong, much less look at me wrong. When my oldest goes into school and she starts immediately getting bullied to the point where she's like shutting down, starting to wear long sleeve sweaters all the
Mm,
time with hoodies and crying all the time, and it hurt me in a different way because I'm like, I never went through that. I can't even relate to her. Nobody dared to pick on
yeah,
me.
That's
And
accurate. Yeah.
here my baby
yeah.
is devastated, and I just learned a
Oh,
whole new heart for it. And so I'm quick to preach, hey, love each other. And I'll tell the girls too. I'm like, y'all want to cast hate on each other, you're not pretty enough, you don't wear makeup, whatever. We have enough haters in this world. Let's empower each other. And that goes for all believers, not just women. We should be lifting each other up daily, reminding each other that we're beautiful the way God created us daily, instead of tearing each other down, because the world is going to do that every single day for us without even asking them to.
yeah, yeah. Proverbs guy, as far as people joining our panel, I think once Jeremiah joins and starts being a regular presence on here, we're going to have like a battleship of a channel. We really are, because he is one of the boldest Gen Z Christians that I know.
You know, and also I'm really looking forward to him joining the panel and hanging out with us. But Lupin made a comment that I missed yesterday, and I only caught it when I went back and listened today. And he said that his friend Hip Hop would love to debate me on Torah observance. And I totally
Mm,
flew by it yesterday, and I was listening back today, and I was like, you know what? I would love to take him around the dance floor on that. I may do that. That may be my first official debate.
yeah, yeah, that that would be awesome. That'd be real. Now, where's everybody gone? There's only four of us in here. Is Father Chuck coming at all?
Dustin is eating, and then he'll be joining us afterwards. I sent
Okay.
the invite to Pastor Chuck. I believe he is still napping, and
Okay.
I'm sure Lupin will be joining here soon. The regular crowd.
Awesome.
They usually start
Well,
kicking
you
in
look forward
about
to
an
this
hour
one?
and a half, and we're about an hour 9 in.
Okay. Have you
Is
heard from
is Jeremiah going to come today?
I don't know. I've kind of been leaving them alone today because he told me that this was going to be couples day today, him and Laria, and I had plenty of time with both of them over the weekend. So I'm just sort of staying hands off for today.
Well, cuz, do you know what you're missing out on today?
If you tell me that it's chicken and dumplings, I'm gonna kick you in the knee.
Ooh, that was like 2 days ago. No, today is Grandma's homemade canned fried potatoes with a T-bone steak.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
tell you what. I'll go ahead and send Jeremiah a link, and we'll see what happens.
I love you, cuz, but I hope your steak had mad cow's disease. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I had to make Grandma's canned fried potatoes for all these kids because I remember how much we loved them, and I was like, y'all know what? I got something for you.
Well, give that to Haley and Liana, but give Amy like birthday cake.
I'm gonna give Amy salad because she's so heavy. I can't lift her up no more. She's not fat. Don't get me wrong. She's a very well-shaped girl, but that girl is solid.
You've
She's
been
a
letting that
brick.
girl eat seconds, haven't you?
She is a brick house. Okay, that girl is solid. She's gonna play some soccer and knock somebody down.
Tabby.
I can't knock anyone down.
See,
She's not
she
going to
even
play
said, "I
soccer.
can
She's
knock
going to
you
crush
down."
the soccer ball if she ever steps on it.
She says she loves you, Uncle Steve.
They're going to know when she's coming because the ground's going to vibrate like Jurassic Park when the T-Rex is getting close.
You know she's listening to you, right?
Why would you do that to that baby? Hey, baby girl.
I just said she told me to say she loves you, Uncle Steve, and you went on that.
I love her too. She's my favorite.
Oh, Leona heard you. No, I'm just kidding. She's not in here.
Oh, you're such a brat.
He's out of the room, right beside the room, Mama.
Go.
Oh, that's my darling.
They came in the room to see who I was talking to, and they heard it was you. It was over with.
Hey, Stump, what happened to that scripture with the Nephilim passage from Genesis? Are we not going to take a peek at that?
I have seen that, and I cannot remember where it's at.
Oh, I thought we went to a different subject, so I just took it off the screen. That's all.
Oh, no. I mean, I was just waiting for you to start. I'm always ready to dig into the Nephilim. That's a subject that fascinates me.
All right, I'll bring it back up. See what happens.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows for sure what exactly they were.
So it says, okay, whatever the sons of God were, the sons of God saw the daughters of man, saw that they were beautiful, and took for them wives as many as they wanted. And then they produced giants. It's the giants in the daughters of man that produced the Nephilim.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
What exactly was their definition?
I think you read something into that, but we'll go with that, I guess.
Well, we're about to read it. Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read
Yeah,
it?
you go ahead and read it. You want me
All
to
right.
scroll down for you? Are you reading from the screen?
I think we only need Genesis 1 through 4. We might, if we need to scroll down more, feel free.
All right.
And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. They were giants in the earth in those days, and also thereafter, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. You want to scroll down just a little bit?
Yep. Let me do that. I'll move so quick. So.
Maybe to where we can see like from 3 down. Actually, I think we need 4 down.
All right, how's that?
That's perfect. Okay. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Okay, so we need to go back up to 4, and the sons of God, we need to look that up in the Hebrew, Stump.
Oh, look,
This is the app we can do that from, isn't it?
Yeah, it's B'nai Elohim, but we can look it up.
Number 4. Sons of God.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 different words, sons and of God. So. Ben, sons, children. Well, let's go to the actual definition. Bane, in the wildest sense, relationship, including grants of subject, nation, quality, condition, etc. Born, breach, breed, cat, came up, child. So something to do with a relationship to God, something to be
Okay.
considered a son, I would say.
Now let's look at the word right under that, of God.
There's Elohim, yeah. Elohim. Gods in the ordinary sense were specifically used in plural, thus especially with the article of the supreme God.
All right. So we have here offspring or children or relation to God.
Yes. But I would say I'm a son of God. Are you a son of God? If you deny that, you won't deny that, will you? Don't deny it. Please don't deny it.
No, I'm not going to deny that. It's just, I feel like right now we are still in our fallen state. And Adam was made in the image of God, but we were made in the image of Adam.
Amen. I agree with that 100%.
Well, also the only time a person is ever referred to as, well, Jesus is referred to Son of Man. So I don't know. It's confusing, Stump.
Yeah, but for me, if we go to, hold on 1 minute. So my grandson came to see me. Hold on.
All right. Brief intermission, everybody.
I'm back.
Okay. That was
Just
quick.
to make this quick point, like Genesis 6:4, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, right? So let's just substitute. So we're conferring the fact that because the sons of God came into the daughter of men, that they produced giants, but it doesn't say that here. It says children. Well, it doesn't even say children. They bear, because that children you see is in italics, and that was added by the interpreter. Bear to them. That's all it says. Bear to them. Don't say it was giants. I'm going to say, let's do this. A real simple thing. Let's substitute giants with cockroach. There were cockroaches in the earth in those days, and after that, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men, and they bare to them, the same became mighty men, which were old, men of renown.
Here's the
You
thing,
see what I'm
though,
saying?
Stump.
The roaches were already there. They weren't formed by the union of
But
man
because
with
of the structure of the sentence, that there were giants in the earth in those days and thereafter, that's what the emphasis of the whole sentence is framed after. So we can't say like that's a separate thing, like we're just mentioning that and then we're mentioning this. Like, no, everything in this sentence is related to the first part.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the giants were already in the earth when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. They were already there. There were giants in those days. They were already there. See what I'm saying?
I can get behind your theory if we could explain where the giants came from, because they're not explained in the creation narrative. And I think that the scriptures would mention if Adam and Eve were giants that begot giants, but it specifically mentions giants which would be like separate from Adam and Eve. So these are something distinctively a little bit different.
Well, if you want to conclude that, I don't conclude that from any of this. I mean, if we go on, let's go on. That's just one minor thing.
Well, where did the giants come from?
They're part of DNA. I mean, you know, we can be tall or small.
So you're saying they're human?
Of course, they're human.
So
you would. About human.
So you're saying that Seth would have been like 14 feet tall?
I don't know how big they are. They don't all have to be that way. We have different sizes, right? Even today, Shaquille O'Neal is a human being. He may be a huge human being, but he's still a human being. And we have midgets. Well, is everybody a midget? So therefore, you know, it couldn't be midgets.
That's true, but Eve could carry a midget. I think if Eve was to carry a giant, it would completely wreck her body.
Let's go back to
what's up, P-Town?
So my seminar number 5 that they took for me, right? We take babies on the ark because they're small. They're small when they're in the womb. Same thing. I mean, just go back to my seminar number 5.
But I mean,
are you defending the Sethite view?
The who?
The Sethite view, is that?
You'll have to explain.
I speak English. That's why I never heard of that. Tell me what that means.
I'm not even sure. I mean,
I don't know
that
what
the
that means.
giants are somehow related to the line of Seth.
I
Is
didn't
that
say
your?
that. I said they're just part of normal human. We could have different sizes of humans. You know, there's tribes in Africa that because they breed together, they're longer and taller and thinner. They're really tall. Or there's pygmies in Africa. There's midgets around here. That don't mean they're aliens. We have to call everybody who's unusual to
But
5'10"
doesn't
normal
doesn't the
height.
word giant here not mean like giant the way that we know? I mean,
You broke off. You broke up at the end there.
doesn't the word giant here not mean the same thing as what we refer to giants being?
I refer to giants being human. I don't know. Somebody else says they're hybrids between humans and fallen angels, and I don't believe that.
Why not? Isn't that what it says?
It doesn't say that at all. It says there were giants in the earth in those days. Also after that. So there was already giants there when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bear to them. That's all it says. It doesn't say they bear to the giants.
Doesn't the
They bear
word
to them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think the word actually means giants though, if you look at the Hebrew. Like the
Well,
way
yeah,
that we would
well,
define giants.
yeah, whatever it means, Nephilim, whatever. It's still
Mm.
it's translated as giants. What else is it though? I mean, well, let's look. Let me see what's actually.
I think it's men of renown. If I
Well,
remember
later on,
correctly.
it comes on saying mighty men were men of old, men of renown. But
Oh.
if you look at Goliath, he was never called a mighty man.
What's the word for giant?
Nephilim, Nephil.
Gigantis in I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it so you guys can hear it.
Yeah, the meaning though.
Strong's H5303.
Not in Hebrew.
Nafil.
Bully or tyrant.
Nafil.
But the whole implication is that they were a mixed breeds, right?
Tyrants. A fellow
My
bully
theory.
or tyrant. That's Strong's definition. I mean,
Steven, my theory is that it was passed on through a recessive gene with one of Noah's daughter-in-laws. That's my theory.
well, yeah,
Because he was pure.
I mean,
he was pure in his
they're
generations.
still humans.
But
that does explain how they got to after the flood.
Mhm.
The question
that's
though
my
is where they came from. So Eve is going to have like a 17-foot child, which is going to be like a 3-foot newborn. I mean, this is going to be a giant baby. It's going to wreck Eve's uterus. Adam, how you doing, bud?
I want to throw something. Hey, Adam. I want to throw something into the mix. Was the Adam that we know of from the Garden of Eden, was that Adam a son of God?
Was
Anybody?
Adam a son of God?
The scriptures say he's the son of God.
Why do I feel like this is a gotcha?
No, it's not a gotcha. There's something. I'll bring a different mix into it.
Hey, it's Mark Reed. What's up, my friend?
But I want to follow with that one. Doesn't he also say that we're descendants of Adam? He doesn't call us by the same name, though.
Hey, Mark. Answer the first question. You went to the second, third.
I have been summoned.
Is it early there, bud? It's 8:30 a.m., right?
P-Town got hold of me on Discord and is like, wanted to join the room like right now, and I'm like, okay, I guess, sure.
Well, he's right. If you look at the screen real quick, we even made you a banner. There you go.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Sorry. I've got my coffee. I'll wake up. I got my coffee. So you're talking about T-Rex and feathers? Yeah.
No, that's just the thumbnail. It's clickbait to get you guys in here.
Okay.
I do have to make a correction, though. I said earlier that you were my second favorite Australian, but I did completely overlook Steve Irwin, so you're my third favorite Australian.
Well, I could be the second favorite living Australian because Steve Irwin kind of died, unfortunately, which was really sad, but yeah.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. My boy Irwin's a legend.
Fair enough. I'm glad his family's doing well though. Like they're Australia Zoo's doing well. They're doing well, which is nice. It's just a bit of a tragedy. That's all.
I'm excited to see P-Town, Adam, and Mark Reed in the same stream.
Uh-oh.
That's the potential for a good conversation.
Well, P-Town, I'm a fan of P-Town. P-Town's, I think he's a good guy. So a lot of people have really negative opinions of P-Town, but I don't. I like P-Town. I've never said anything disparaging about P-Town.
From where in the
people that
atheist
don't like me.
From where in the atheist community do you two know each other?
I interviewed P-Town like ages, really early on in my channel, actually. Did a couple of interviews with P-Town.
That.
Where did I run into you?
It's almost been a year.
Praises?
We're coming up
Praises,
on
maybe?
Amy's, I think.
Yeah.
I started talking to
Amy's.
atheists online about 10 months ago. And then I reached out to you first.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you believe there's any scientific evidence for what we would consider giants, people over, say, 8 feet tall in the ancient world?
No, none whatsoever.
What about the many claims, though, of remains of giants being collected for the museum here in the United States and then the bones never appearing?
Is that the one where giants, like, they were taken out? Because a paper ran an article that was like that the Museum of Natural History, I think it was, destroyed all of the giant bones, kind of thing. But the problem was that the paper was sort of like the Onion kind of stuff. It was a joke paper, but unfortunately people took it as sort of serious and sort of spread it around. I mean, I can probably find it if you want, but I've done a fact check on that, and there's no actual. If you look into it, it was run as a joke rather than something serious originally.
I mean, if it was just the one claim, I would say, hey, sure, let's brush it off. But there have been so many claims just here in the North United States.
Stephen, did you define giant as just being over 8 feet tall? Because don't we have people like that just right now?
Well, that's true. We do now. But if you're looking back, say, 4,000 years ago, we'll say average height's about 4'5" to 5 feet. 8 foot tall is still going to be massive, right? In comparison.
Does it say how tall the Nephilim supposedly were?
I've heard calculations that Goliath reached 12 feet tall. I've never found that in the text, or I can't recall finding that in the text, but that is the Christian tradition.
Because one verse it says that they look like grasshoppers or something like that. There's like 3 references to Nephilim in the Bible. I think in Numbers or something it says that they look like grasshoppers to
So
them.
that's when they enter into the promised land. They send scouts. And the scouts of the children of Israel come back and tell Moses, or tell the children of Israel, that there are giants in the land that tower them so that they look like grasshoppers. But also, they bring back grape clusters. And the grape clusters are even so massive that it takes a team of men to carry the grape clusters back.
So really, I'd like to ask why a museum would destroy ancient sort of large human bones, like why that would be the case.
Well, I think for one reason, it would add validity to the scriptures, and I don't believe the atheist community would know quite where to put them in the history of mankind.
Well, I mean, not all museum curators and people involved in museums are atheists. I think that's sort of a wild mischaracterization. In fact, not everybody involved in science, paleontology in general, are atheists. I'm sure there are sort of Christian paleontologists and especially human paleontologists.
You're probably right, Mark. Atheist may have been the wrong word. I'll say evolutionists. People who ascribe to the evolution theory.
Well, it seems like a very large conspiracy theory. And I don't think that a sort of an overly large hominid species would necessarily sort of be a problem for evolution. Depends how large you're talking about here. I know that Neanderthal was, slightly larger than, say, for instance, Cro-Magnon, which was sort of a contemporary kind of, or Homo, the Devanosians. I can't remember the actual, sort of title for it, but they were slightly larger and heavier set kind of thing. But sort of compared to modern day Homo sapiens, that they weren't really like what you would consider a giant as such. So if you're talking about 8 feet tall, I don't see any claims that they've been found, even though sort of religious people have been searching. I see claims that they've been found and then destroyed. Whenever you fact check them and actually go into them, there's not a lot of evidence for that, just sort of some conspiracy theories. So really, I'd sort of be asking, like, why would they? I don't see why they would destroy something that could possibly be explained under evolution. I'm not quite sure why.
Well, how would evolution explain that, though? I mean, if you did find a whole village of prehistoric giants, how would you fit them into the timeline?
Well, they would have to be sort of an offshoot of the sort of lineage of Homo sapiens, right? They couldn't be sort of alongside Homo sapiens, because we just don't grow that big. So it would have to be an offshoot in some way. And depending on the numbers, there's offshoots of Homo sapiens all over the place. So if they split early enough, and had enough diverse features, then you could explain them. If it was the case that they're exactly the same as humans, then you'd have a bit of a problem, except for size.
Well, here's the issue with that, though, Mark, is there are several different Native American tribes that they have found caves with writings about giants. So they apparently would have had to have coexisted with man, regardless of when you place that period of time.
Yeah, that would definitely be a problem.
Okay, well, thank you for your honesty.
Well, because they also have writings about thunderbirds and other sort of things that we don't believe are real either. So are we saying that those things, like whatever they wrote about, is actually real? Are we actually saying that sort of because they wrote about thunderbirds, then our understanding of storm generation is wrong, and it's actually caused by massive birds?
That is an interesting point, and that is a fair point. I'll have to give you that.
Can I just chime in for a quick second and
go ahead?
Just say that my daughter is developing an Australian accent by watching way too much Bluey. It's a phenomenon. I know, Mark, you don't have kids, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. Hi, baby. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know what Bluey is. I'm sorry.
I don't either. Dustin, you have a question, sir?
So, Mark, you're saying that it's a hoax whenever you read about like bones being destroyed. But I mean, when we look at the other end of the equation, say like Peltdown.
You have a lot of background noise, Dustin. It's really hard to make out what you're saying.
I'm really sorry. Give me a second. So, like, if you go to Piltdown Man, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that these hoaxes with Piltdown Man have so much longer legs than the supposed hoaxes of the bones being destroyed?
Well, I'm not sure what you're saying.
So Piltdown Man, right?
Well, yeah, that was a hoax.
Yeah, but how long did it stand and was publicly verified before it had to be fixed? And then you're talking about the hoaxes where the bones were destroyed. And I mean, I really have to search to find what you're referring to. Why does the Piltdown Man have longer legs and the bones are just
you don't mean physically? Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's because Sorry, Dustin. I thought you meant longer legs, as in literally. Why does it have elongated sort of thigh bones and stuff? I do apologize. Yeah. So why does it last longer? Is what you're saying?
Yes, I'm kind of vicarious. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why is because I would presume is because it's pretty easy to sort of with this particular one, the one that I looked into, it's pretty easy to go and say, okay, the original story came from this place, and the place was a paper called World News Daily Report. And that World News Daily Report is a joke paper, like it's just like The Onion. It's not hard to find out. Whereas Piltdown Man was actually a pretty good forgery of sort of, different bones and stuff. It's also the case that Piltdown, I don't think that was giant per se, like not 8 feet tall as far as I know.
No, the only two things that would relate the two is that you're claiming that the bones were being destroyed as a hoax, and so that we both know that Piltdown Man is a hoax, right? And the bones being destroyed is a hoax. Why the popularity with Piltdown Man, but the ambiguity with the bones?
No, I'm not saying the bones being destroyed is a hoax. It's a fake story. Like a hoax is where you actually generate evidence to fool people. You go and you make something in order to fool people into the truth. This wasn't what happened. It was basically the giant bones kind of thing, that the Smithsonian's destroying giant bones was literally a fake story meant as humor. It wasn't a hoax.
Yeah, but the popularity though, right? I mean, if you're talking of Piltdown Man, for example, you even still see certain references to it in modern historical books. I'm just having a hard time understanding why Piltdown Man was such a popularized hoax, and the bones are so downplayed.
Well, there was no bones for a start. That's the whole point. Like, there wasn't any bones being put on display, shown to anybody. It was just a conspiracy story that the Smithsonian destroyed the bones of giants. Number two, the original intent of that article wasn't to fool people. Whereas Piltdown, it definitely, they were trying to forge it and make it look real. So the reason why Piltdown had longer legs, if you will, is because that was an intentional, very well done forgery. Whereas the one that you're talking about appears to be a rumor that descended from a joke article that was put on a paper that sort of did joke articles.
Okay, I guess we're not going to see eye to eye on this, but yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I just kind of wanted you to maybe look at it from my perspective.
Okay, yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but one of them, the Piltdown Man took ages to falsify, and it did. It was multiple years. I think it was about 5 years to falsify. Although some paleontologists were calling it a hoax off the bat. It did take a while for us to be sure that it was a hoax. Absolutely, no, I get what you're saying. Whereas sort of, so it's the problem is that if we treat all conspiracy theories as true, that sort of, museums are doing this or the government's doing that or whatever, what have you, you quickly get into believing in things without sufficient evidence to warrant them. In the case of the Smithsonian destroying bones, we're kind of very certain where that came from, and it came from the World News Daily Report, which is it's a fake news website. It's a satirical news website.
Can I ask you a question, Mark? Well, actually, it's about 3 questions, but they're short questions. Okay, so take the example of the flood. Christianity, it's not the only religion from around the world to acknowledge a worldwide flood, or at least a sequence of local floods, right? There are all types of religions that confirm that. So we could probably safely say at some point in history, there was either a global flood or a series of local floods. Would you say that's fair?
No, definitely not. No.
Really?
Yeah, the problem is that I mean, a lot of cultures do have stories about floods. That's the thing. There are cultures that have stories about big floods, and they're very notable, like the Chinese, for instance, with the Yang River
Gilgamesh too.
Flooding. Well, sure, but that is the same area, and I would sort of, with the parallels between the Atrahasa Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible, I would say one is based off the other. There's too many parallels to it not to be. The thing is that you have societies which didn't record this flood at all and went straight through the flood with no problems whatsoever. The Japanese, for instance, went straight through without recording a flood, didn't have a problem with it. Their society progressed from sort of Paleolithic to sort of Iron Age without having any disturbance whatsoever, and we can see that in the archaeological record. And it's interesting to note that the Yang River flood that you're talking about, is it the Yellow River flood? Yellow River it is. That was apparently solved by one of their heroes who turned the river aside and saved all these villages and stuff. That didn't actually happen over the entire world. What we would expect to see with a global flood is that there should be a complete disturbance in the societies all over the world, not just in one place, but everywhere. We don't see that, unfortunately.
Well, that sort of derails my next question then. I thought you would acknowledge, to be honest, that if like 19 different civilizations claimed there was a global flood, that there was possibly a at least large-scale flood, either locally all around the world simultaneously or a worldwide global flood. But you don't concede to that, and that's fine. My related point was that giants are mentioned in Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Hindu mythology, Christianity, and a whole slew of other religions and ancient peoples. I mean, don't you think that that offers some sort of credibility that we should look into honestly?
Well, that's true, but fairies are mentioned in a whole bunch of other of civilizations. They're mentioned in Germanic. They're mentioned in sort of forest spirits are mentioned in Native American mythology.
Christianity mentions them too. We call them demons.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why I would think that fairies actually exist. I don't think that's a very I don't see any evidence that that is actually the case. There's a lot of these things that are mentioned in a lot of different mythologies. It seems to be that we that humans sort of make these stories, and these stories, because we're all humans, seem to have sort of consistent basis for them. For instance, I think the Greek one is the only one that mentions the Cyclops, the one-eyed giant kind of thing. We think that is the case, or it has been postulated, I should say, because it's not really certain, but it's been postulated that the case that they found an elephant skull that looks like a skull with one eye, but that's actually the nasal cavity. So they may have been mistaken on that. And that is a good point, that people could have found bones that were incredibly large. Like if you find a femur and it's incredibly larger than any animal you've ever seen, you could say, hey, that's the bones of giants. In fact, I think Norse mythology has the world being made out of Ymir, the ice giant. How much credibility are we going to give these giants? Is the world made of an ice giant? I don't think so. But in order to sort of accept these, you've got to reject certain parts of them. And so we're sort of saying, well, why aren't you being critical of the things that agree with your doctrine? Hello?
Well, that answers my questions. Dustin is dying to repeat his question. Dustin, are you at a place where you can repeat your question? Because I don't remember what it was.
I'm not trying to repeat my question. Somebody said I wasn't making sense, and I was trying to get to the key of that issue. He's saying my question doesn't make sense. I think Mark understood it quite well.
I think so. It makes sense. There's a couple there. I think it was completely lucid, and just sort of as a question, it's fine. Sort of. So why did Piltdown Man have such a greater length of time that it fooled us than destruction of bones in the Smithsonian? And I think it just comes down to the evidence for both of them. I don't think it's a question that's particularly doesn't make sense. It just is. It's a good question. Why is one sort of sit at the forefront of the human civilizations and the other one is sort of dismissed out of hand? I think it's a fair question. And I think that comes down to the amount of evidence for both. While the evidence for the Piltdown was a very good forgery by somebody that knew what they were doing, the evidence is the other one is a either a story or just a series of rumors that have been around. When you trace them back, and there's people that do trace the origin of these stories, like fact-checking sites and things like that, it seems to come from a satirical thing. So it's just the evidence is what will cause something to remain sort of in the public eye or not. That's
so
about
you don't
all.
think that the ire and prestige of a professor claiming that this is the way it is didn't have anything to do with that?
The ire and prestige. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
So if I was, say I was one of your college professors, would you accept my grade that I put on your paper if you say you feel like you deserve a better grade, or would you just live with the grade that I marked it on?
Oh, I've certainly gone to lecturers before and said, "Hey, I feel like I deserve a better grade, and here's why." That's entirely reasonable.
Okay, but I'm talking about like the mass majority. Like if you're average Joe on the street, right, and you're hearing Mr. Prestigious Professor being acknowledged and announced before he makes his pronouncements, that kind of puts a little bit of a weight towards what this man is saying, whether or not he's right.
Sure. I mean, when you're a lecturer, yeah, you're sort of you do have the final word. Or if you're marking the papers, sure. I think that you're sort of making the mistake that they're basically saying, "Hey, you can't bring me anything and question me. My sort of designation is authoritative."
No. That's not where I'm going with that.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm not saying that you say somebody who has the intelligence, say another professor, could come and challenge those ideas. But if I am average Joe, well, okay, but they're not going to listen to me if I come up into a professor's office and I say you're wrong for XYZ reasons. They're going to laugh me out of the office.
Yeah. So here's the thing. There's a certain way of presenting evidence in academia, right? There's a certain way we go about saying, "Hey, this is how we challenge an idea that's been established in academia." It will involve papers and peer review and all of the processes that we have to sort of make sure that wrong information, like the Piltdown Man, isn't put into the public sphere as truth.
Mark,
Could
I ask you a fair question? If I was to show you actual evidence of giants, would you at least consider the possibility?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I share my screen with you?
Sure.
Let me see here. Okay, are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a finger bone that was found in the Middle East. and I got to hold this in my hand. It's an actual finger bone. Can you imagine how big that person would have had to be? This is another one that I was able to hold. This is a smaller finger bone, but still massively larger than a full-size woman's finger. But this one is the most impressive. This is a toe bone. How large do you think this person would have to be for this to be a bone in the toe?
Well, hold on. How do you know it was from a person?
Well, they've had it tested by
toe
scientists.
bone, I have to question that one.
Well, did they sort of publish anything on it?
This is from the Ron Wyatt collection. And 3 different scientists tested it and confirmed its authenticity.
Right? Like if I was Ron Wyatt.
But refused to publish it.
Well, the problem with Ron Wyatt is he's claimed to have made many discoveries over the years that haven't actually been true.
The problem with what you said, though, is I've held the claims in my hand. What do you do with the fact, even the finger bone? That is a human finger bone.
Has anybody sort of, have you published anything on it? Has anybody from sort of
a lot has been published on Ron Wyatt.
Yeah, Ron Wyatt, he claimed to find the Ark, and it turned out to be a limonite deposit. He claimed to do a lot of things.
The Noah's Ark site is not a limonite deposit. That's been disproven multiple times now. Even the Turkish government recognizes it as Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Look who made it in the room.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremiah?
They don't actually do that. Like the University of California sent people over there, and it is most definitely not a natural rock outcropping, not petrified wood.
That has been disproven multiple times now.
What put it there then?
If I
How
may
did it
chime
get
in
there?
real quick, there is
I can find
on
the paper.
Scholarly.
Please do on that one. I want to see.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
On Scholarly, you can actually Google, because we have to use Scholarly for any of our college coursework. It's one of the few accepted platforms. And on there, you can pull up the research from the scientists that have been finding the giant bones. And they have tested them, and they are showing human DNA with 1 chromosome difference, though. But yeah, you can actually pull that up on a college accepted site. And I'm trying to look for it right now.
So what was the argument that humans can't be large? That was the argument? Can't be large people?
No, the argument is about the difference in rumors, for example, why certain rumors have longer legs than others, and the pronouncement of evidence and whether or not it's taken seriously.
Oh yeah, well we're never going to agree on that because it's always going to be, well, what's the proof? What's this? What's that? I mean, humans can be larger. I don't get it. I don't get why humans can't be larger. We see them today. We see over 7 feet people. But what's the problem? I don't get it.
Well, I mean,
Mark.
the problem is that we don't have evidence that people seem to be getting larger as time goes on. Like back in the sort of days of Napoleon and stuff, nobody was 7 feet tall. Like it just wasn't happening.
We don't know that because we don't have access to everybody in the world. That's ridiculous to say that, Mark. Come on.
Napoleon's time.
We have access to every person that ever lived in Africa or Asia or India, the Dark Continent, and all the rest of that. We don't have access to everybody to say that. You're just assuming that from what we know from the Western world.
Well, I mean, we've it's to sort of say that we don't have access to everybody in the world. Therefore, there could be sort of, giant humans out there somewhere.
Amen.
I've got no reason to believe that. I think that's just sort of making a statement that has no. I mean, we have explored a large quantity of the world, and I think there's only a few tribes that sort of, very remote tribes that we haven't come in contact with. The North Sentinelese Island, for instance, that sort of resists all contact. But we've seen pictures of them.
That's the one off the coast of India?
Yeah. But we have seen pictures of them. They're not giants. But, there's very few humans in the world that haven't had contact with the greater population. I don't know where you think these people are.
I don't say they are. I said it's a possibility. Or for you to say they weren't is just.
Well, I mean,
it can't
like
be a
saying there's
proven
a
fact.
possibility that there's Bigfoot.
You always want facts,
basically.
Mark. You always ask for facts, like the carnal mind thing, but you can't say that when you don't know about the whole world. Let me ask you this, Mark. Do you believe that there is evidence of larger animals and insects in the fossil record in the past?
So let's go back a bit, Stump, because you sort of said I asked for facts because I've got a carnal mind, and I don't know why this would be a problem. Sort of so the whole idea that I have to see something other than facts seems to be baffling to me. Why would I pay attention to, or at least give the credibility I would a fact to rumors and speculation and sort of religious doctrine? I mean, if something's a fact, doesn't that hold?
You just broke your own rule. You said that in Napoleon times there was nobody above whatever height. You can't say that definitely. That's a rumor. That's an assumption of yours, but you can't say that.
Let's have a fun back and forth, but let's make sure to let both sides be able to finish their whole thought, to be fair.
So we found let's look at what the evidence says, that during the days of Napoleon, lots of people were killed. We've got lots of battlefields out there, lots of human remains around the place. You know, it was a particularly violent time. We've never found anybody sort of approaching 7 foot in size. So where is your information coming from that there were these people out there?
I never said that word.
That doesn't go against the Bible.
You're eliminating the part. You just estimate. You're making an assumption that it wasn't, but you couldn't possibly know that. That's like saying all people believe in God, but you couldn't possibly know that because you don't know all people.
What's that, Adam?
Mark, are you saying that prior to this, 1800s or 1700s, no one was taller than 7 feet? Because that seems like a bizarre claim to me.
Well, I think that there would be sort of an anomaly that humans are definitely growing larger. That sort of, you know, I mean, we get people nowadays that sort of are I think the tallest was 11 feet in size, but he had all kinds of health problems and kind of died. We're sort of not talking about people with sort of growth disorders or anything like that. We're talking about a sort of a population curve where a significant amount of the population is above 6 feet.
So you mean like an entire population is what you see?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be an entire population, but you know,
gigantism is like, you agree that gigantism is a real thing today, and
yes,
no doubt existed more than 100 years ago.
Yes.
And that's what someone over 8 feet or something is gigantism.
Well,
or 7 feet.
I would. Well, Adam, let me finish. So I wouldn't say gigantism would be included in that, because that isn't sort of part of the normal population. That's definitely a disorder kind of thing. It's not the normal human.
Is that a recessive gene, Mark? Gigantism?
What? Yeah. But being taller than your parents is a dominant gene. Like, you are 3/4 likely to be taller than your parents. And we've got the statistics about that to say, hey, yes, that is the case. Being taller than your parents is a dominant gene.
So you're saying you don't believe there was a population of giants?
No, I don't think there was a population of giants. And I don't think that a while ago, when you look at the heights of people, as long as we're measuring them, they have gone, like the bell curve, if you will, of people has shifted up rather than down. And that is due to the genetics of sort of height. I mean, who here is taller than their parents? I know I was.
I am, so that's fair. I think a question that would arise would be, well, first of all, that opens up a whole bunch of more doorways. Okay, recessive gene. Go ahead, Adam. No,
I was going to say, because I wasn't 100% clear from Mark. Mark, are you saying that you don't believe that there are any individuals with gigantism prior to a certain time, or you think that you're saying
I think that
myths of an entire population?
Yeah, no, I'm sort of discounting people with gigantism from the normal population, because we're not talking about somebody with a growth, a genetic illness that makes them grow to a very large height. We're talking about fixed morphologies in the human genome.
Okay.
So I don't think sort of including people with gigantism I'm just like if I said, hey, if during Napoleon's time people grew between 4 foot something to 6 foot maximum, that was the bell curve for normal human distribution. I don't think I would be including sort of people with dwarfism in that, for instance. Like it is an anomaly.
You said, though, it's common for us to be taller than our parents, though, correct? And I agree with you because I'm taller than both of my parents. So my question is, 2,000 years ago, if you have someone who's 8 foot tall, he's the only 8 foot tall dude in the village. In 6 villages over, there's an 8 foot tall woman, and they have a child. Wouldn't that child then be 8 foot 2, 8 foot 3?
Cool. Well, I mean, yeah, 3/4 chance, yeah, because it's a dominant gene, yeah.
I mean, then I see the possibility of a whole tribe of giants being very realistic.
Also, if we're just going by a skeleton, how do we know if it's just an individual with a condition, or if you know what I mean? How would you rule that out?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Usually, there's some markers on bone growth to show that somebody had gigantism. Their bones grow in certain ways that are sort of have stress fractures and a lot of problems with them. We know this because we've studied the bones of people that do have gigantism.
Also, the calcium and density.
I think I'm not sure if that's one of the markers. Could well be, but they do have markers to show when a person does have gigantism in the past. Yeah.
Do you think that there's anything, Mark, in principle that is like absurd about? I mean, to me, if there was a population of humans that were all 9 feet tall, there's nothing bizarre or crazy. Like there's nothing like supernatural about that. But do you think that there's something about that just defies our understanding of science, or do you just particularly don't see any evidence for believing in it?
Oh, I don't see any evidence for believing in it. Okay, and sort of the evidence that has been presented has been things like rumors or a religious conviction or things like that I don't.
But what about the giant finger bone I just showed you that I held in my own hand?
Yeah,
I mean, it's real. It's not fake. I've held it.
No, I get that. But I would have to know that that's human. So I would want sort of a paleoanthropologist to evaluate that thing, not just sort of.
Can you think of any other kind of species that would have an elongated fingers like that with multiple joints that match a human?
What do you mean by match a human?
Well, joints in a finger that are elongated, not hunched over like an ape. I mean, it's definitely
lots of
human
animals
fingers.
Have jointed finger bones. That's not unusual in the slightest.
Any of them that match this description?
Well, I mean, match the description. I'm not sure what you're like. Sort of, so that the morphology
would look like this.
Animals are generally all the same. Even whales have finger bones in their flippers. And it's sort of without expertise, it's very hard to tell the difference between a finger bone from a whale and a finger bone.
Would it change your mind at all if I told you that this was found in an ancient gravesite? Like a human gravesite?
Can you show the picture again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I mean, it definitely looks. If you just see it at first, it looks like a human finger, right? Like,
I mean, it's without a question. But I understand what you're saying.
That's a problem because we don't just look at things and say, well, it looks like a human finger. We'll categorize it as a human finger kind of thing. Yeah, I would definitely want a paleo sort of a paleontologist or a paleoanthropologist to look at that.
And the same thing for this one?
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, I don't know how to look at something and say that is a human bone. That's the whole point about some of these discoveries, like Piltdown Man. You can be very, very easily fooled because if you don't have the training, and even if you do have the training, sometimes forgeries and sort of other things can completely fool you. I don't know how. Like if I put a finger bone from a whale and a finger bone from some other animal, could you tell them apart? Like if I put a finger bone from a whale and a finger bone from a elephant, could you tell them apart?
I think if I dug the bone up in an elephant graveyard, I could safely say that this is more likely an elephant bone than a whale bone. Would you concede to that point? And this bone was found in a human grave. So I think that analogy lines up beautifully.
Like I get what you're saying, but what have you actually taken this to paleoanthropologists and got them to evaluate it? And if not, why not?
It has been evaluated by 3 different paleontologists who've confirmed that it's human, but they will not come forward because of fear of scrutiny.
Why not? I mean, this would be an incredible discovery. This would be a really incredible discovery.
Right, because all the other times that people have claimed to found this discovery, it was welcomed with open arms. In most cases, I'd say that they were scrutinized by the scientific community relentlessly.
Well, that's what science does. You always scrutinize everything under science. That's the whole point. Mary Schweitzer was scrutinized a whole lot, but she was, she had the facts on her side. So my question is, if these guys have the facts on their side, why won't they come forward? Is it because they fear scrutiny?
If you really did believe that any time the bones of giants were sent in to be scientifically evaluated, they ended up disappearing, and you did in fact believe that you had authentic giant bones in your possession, do you really believe, without a bias, that you would have no issue sending them in to be evaluated and trust that they come back to you?
Yeah, I would have no issue with that at all.
Really?
I don't know why. If you've got the truth on your side, what have you got to fear? Do you think that the churches aren't waiting for exactly this thing to back up their claims? Do you think that there's nobody who is a believer in Christianity that could do the evaluation for you? Do you really think that look, there is no evidence to suggest things are disappearing? That is just a conspiracy theory. That's all it is. And when I've looked into this, there is literally 0 evidence that anybody is taking these fossils and destroying them, and sort of making sort of accusations because you want this to be true. I think it's kind of insulting to the people that do the work in the field, evaluating this stuff.
Can we get back to my original question? Do you believe that in the fossil record that there are larger things like insects and animals found within that record that do not conform to what we believe they should be growing nowadays?
What do you mean should be growing now?
Well, you said that it goes giants in the past or larger humans. I don't know why we keep going to giant. What size is a giant? 7 foot. You go to the NBA camp, you can see they're giants compared to me. But you're saying that's not normal for now. Everything, men are getting larger now. They're getting larger now, so therefore they weren't larger in the back. That's your reasoning, the way I understand it. So if there's fossil records showing larger insects and animals, yet they're small today, it doesn't show, and they're getting larger, maybe a little bit here and there. It's the same thing. But there's yet a record that I think we would agree that there is a record of a fossil record of larger animals and insects in the past.
Sure, there's definitely megafauna, and definitely there has been larger insects in the past, sure, but that doesn't mean that there were larger humans in the past, and you would have to provide some sort of evidence for that claim.
But there was even a larger scale great white.
Just one second. Something we can evaluate to find the truth of that. You're making a lot of these claims that there definitely were larger people, but where is the evidence to back it up? It seems to me, and this is just what it seems to me, is that you've got a religious idea, that a faith-based idea that these people, there were giants in the past. And so any evidence is good enough to back up that claim. And unfortunately, the scientific world and the rest of the world doesn't work like that. We base what we think is true upon the evidence provided, and the evidence provided is nothing.
Well, I never said that they were giant. What does a giant mean? Is a 7 footer a giant in the past? Could it be a giant now? You said people were smaller in the past, right? Napoleon, they were smaller. So during biblical
don't
times,
know.
Mark, you do the same
that's the problem.
thing.
We're not defining what a giant is. A giant could be 7 foot tall back in the past. Is that unusual? Could there people consider people giants that were 7 feet when they were 5? The average height was 5'5", 5'6", so they were smaller in the past.
Adam,
Stephen
make your
started-
point.
Yeah, just real quick, I was going to say, Stephen pointed out, like, I thought that you defined it as over 8 feet, right?
I would define 8 foot or higher giant. Yeah.
And that was what Mark was responding to. That was your specific way you
why
put
are
it.
we defining that as there's no biblical thing that tells us how big a giant is. The only description we have that I know of is of Goliath.
There is
and that doesn't mean that they
tradition
were
that
all giants. That's what the Bible considered giants. Plus, that word we looked up in the Bible, giants didn't mean giants. It was just an English translation. It made like a bad person, evil person, bully. That's what the definition said in Strong. So
yeah, but a bad person or an unholy, an unholy or bad person doesn't make me look like a grasshopper, Stump. So I'm not sure if that applies. But we'll circle back around.
Wow.
P-Town, you got interrupted.
No, I was the one interrupting.
Oh, okay. Did
So
you
I'm
want to
the
make a
guilty
point
one.
though?
Oh, I was just telling Mark that he does the same thing. I can't remember what it was though. What were you
Captain,
talking about, Mark?
I'd love to know what I'm doing the same thing on, sort of saying, hey, we have no evidence of this happening, and so therefore I think that was
Something about your beliefs project what you think that you know. If that reminds you of where you're going.
I would hope that we sort of agree that the material world exists around us. As far as presuppositions go, I think that's my major one. Sort of that and sort of a logical system, sort of the logical absolutes are my major presuppositions. I don't think I make any other presuppositions, and I sort of, so if you're saying, hey, I'm dismissing Christianity because of my bias towards non-Christianity, I could leverage the same accusation against you for not believing the claims of Islam or Hinduism or any of these other religions, or not believing that Cyclops did roam the earth because the Greeks recorded Cyclops roaming the earth, or the Thunderbird because you've got a bias against Native American religions, kind of.
Oh,
thing.
come on, Mark. You know what you're doing. Like, let's keep it
What?
simple. Atheists have their biases. Okay. Christians have their biases. I mean,
I would say everybody has their biases.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. The whole point of the methods of science is to try and eliminate bias. It's to try and eliminate it. So for a start, the peer review process has multiple people look at it from multiple different origins and sort of